Are you feeling self-conscious or not very confident when thinking about starting or building your own business and working with clients? Hey, it's Luisa Zhou, and today I'll be sharing my best tips about dealing with that imposter syndrome. These are the same tips I've used to help thousands of new entrepreneurs overcome their own fears, so I've got you covered. Make sure you stay until the end because I'll be sharing how to take that newfound confidence you'll have after the end of this video and use that to get your first paying client. And of course, hit that subscribe button to be notified when I share a new video every week about building your own online business and going from employee to entrepreneur. Tip number 1 for overcoming that imposter syndrome, use a good old pros and cons list. There's a reason these lists never go out of style. It's because they work. So here's what you're going to do. Take a sheet of paper and fold it in half. Now, instead of calling the two columns the pros and cons, instead you're going to title them Why I'm Not Qualified and Why I Am Qualified. Next, in the Why I'm Not Qualified column, write out your first thought about that. Then go over to the Why I Am Qualified column and write out your arguments for why that thought is actually not true. For example, the first time I did this exercise, one of my top fears was that I wasn't as qualified as so-and-so in my industry. That was a very real fear. Do you relate to that? If so, definitely let me know in the comments below. However, once I thought about it some more, I realized, you know what? I'm not as well known as so-and-so, and I don't have an audience as big as so-and-so's. I didn't have an audience at all at the time, but here's what I did have that made me more qualified for my clients and a better fit than so-and-so. First, I was closer to where my clients were. At the time, I was doing digital advertising consulting. And I was on top of all the latest trends and strategies. But I knew that the top people in my industry at the time weren't because they had entire teams to manage all of that for them. And that made me an infinitely better choice for what my clients needed at that time. And the same is true for you. Second, I also knew that I would work my butt off for every client, whether that meant putting in overtime, hopping on extra calls, answering extra emails, whatever it took, because I was on a mission to prove myself to each client and to the world. And I knew that that was something that the top players in my industry no longer had the willingness or the desire to even do because they had been around for so long, they already had so much social proof, and they had other responsibilities such as running their businesses and teams. So basically, using this exercise, I argued out both sides of whether or not I was qualified and created this deep belief within myself that that imposter syndrome was just fear speaking and wasn't the truth. This exercise is so powerful, and I cannot wait to hear about your takeaways once you do it. Tip number 2, understand why you feel like an imposter or a fraud. Take a second and think about why you're really feeling this way. The truth is, most of the time, the reason why you're really feeling this way is because you're afraid that you won't be able to actually help people get the results that they want. Right? If you have that fear, that's a good thing because it means that you actually care about the work that you're doing and the people that you're helping. And once you realize this fear, you can deal with it much more easily. Why wouldn't someone working with you get the results that they want? Is it because your coaching and guidance won't be good enough? Probably not. Because if you're helping someone with something that you already have experience in or have helped others with, then why wouldn't that process work for your client as well? Why else do you think someone working with you wouldn't get the results that they want? List out all of the reasons you can think of and address each of them the way I just did with that example. That's how you can, again, create that deep confidence within yourself that you truly are going to be able to help your clients get the results that they want. Which leads us to the final tip. Tip number 3, listen to your intuition. The first 2 tips we covered were very logical so that each time this fear comes up, you can think through exactly what we just talked about and knock that fear back down. However, we can't overlook the fact that as human beings, we are not that logical when it comes to our fears and our emotions. One of my students, who is a phenomenal career coach, asked me about dealing with imposter syndrome. And she said, I know it's not logical, but... And I stopped her right there. Then I asked her the same question I'm about to ask you. Put aside the logic and what you think you should be thinking and feel into your answer for this next question. What is your intuition telling you about how good of a coach or a service provider you'll be? What is it saying about how you compare to that person in your industry who is making you feel like an imposter? Really take a second and listen, because deep down, you know you've got this. Now, every time that imposter syndrome pops back up, you'll know how to deal with it both logically and emotionally. Hopefully, now you're feeling at least a little more confident. If you're wondering, though, how the most successful entrepreneurs are able to seemingly maintain that confidence all the time and succeed at everything they set their minds to, you'll definitely want to check out my video sharing the 3 mindset habits of successful entrepreneurs. It's in the link description below. Plus, if you want my 15-second script to get your first paying client, make sure that you grab it as well below in the link description. This video has shown you how to stop letting that imposter syndrome hold you back, and that PDF will give you the exact next steps to take to use that newfound confidence and go out there and start getting some awesome results in your business. Because nothing beats helping your client get epic results to quiet that imposter syndrome once and for all. And if you like this video, please let me know by liking it below and letting me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was. Don't forget to subscribe for my weekly videos, share this with your entrepreneurial friends, and I will see you next time.